Finally, my Lords, a word about Article 9, a late amendment to this bill in the other place, which seeks to create an offence of interference with access to or provision of abortion services, and would introduce 150-metre wide buffer zones, also known as censorship or safe zones, around abortion providers. My Lords, when protests do take place, they are typically quiet prayer groups, which occasionally do display signs or placards. However, participants do not cajole nor harass women. There is no interference with access to or the provision of abortion services. Approximately 90% of all clinics and hospitals have not reported either activity as ever having occurred. According to the findings of the 2018 Home Office review, a blanket ban around abortion clinics, my Lords, would be disproportionate. It would be a denial of the right to freedom of expression. It is unnecessary, and it could even be harmful. The reality is that many of those taking part in these vigils do often provide help to vulnerable women. Historically, as a result of expressions of prayer and offers of help, women have been able to avail of practical, emotional, and other forms of support, of which they may previously have been unaware or were unable to access. Some women who may feel uncertain but feel forced to terminate a pregnancy because of their fears that they cannot cope, who might be reassured by what they might hear before they get into the clinic, will inevitably suffer if a disproportionate ban is enforced. Some of these women, my Lords, have never had the opportunity to receive impartial counsel and support as they considered their options. On the 24th of October, the Noble Lord the Minister said that the bill is generally compatible with Convention rights. I regret that I do not agree with him on that point. I do, however, agree with him in relation to his comment on Clause 9 of the bill. He stated, "I'm unable, but only because of Clause 9, to make a statement that, in my view, the provisions of the bill are presently compatible with Convention rights." He was saying that Clause 9 is not compatible with Convention rights. Current laws, my Lord, already provide wide-ranging powers for authorities to keep public order and protect women and the public from genuine harassment and intimidation outside abortion clinics. The Ealing PSPO shows a nationwide ban is unnecessary, and that further measures to ban peaceful demonstrations can have the unintended consequences of harming the individuals seeking to express their views. Clause 9 is poorly drafted. It's so broadly worded that it could be used to criminalise people who merely express opinion outside an abortion facility. My Lords, in 2018, the Home Office concluded that there was no need to introduce buffer zones. The then Home Secretary Sajid Javid said, "Introducing national buffer zones would not be a proportionate response, considering the experience of the majority of hospitals and clinics, and considering that the majority of activities are more passive in nature." This position has been consistently reaffirmed by the government since then, most recently on the 27th of September 2022. A June 2021 poll undertaken by Savanta Comres shows that only 21% of the population support under introducing buffer zones around abortion clinics nationwide. A majority support either having no restrictions on speaking about the issue of abortion outside abortion clinics or restrictions in line with current legislation. Clause 9 is not only not Convention compatible, but it's also disproportionate, as police officers already have the powers to intervene. If a vigil was calling harassment or harm, they can intervene under the Public Order Act, the Protection from Harassment Act, the civil provisions of the Public Space Protection Order, and the Crime and Policing Act 2014. A person guilty of these offences would be liable in the first instance to imprisonment of up to 6 months and/or an unlimited fine, and in further instances to up to 2 years imprisonment and/or an unlimited fine. The offences, my Lord, vary from seeking to influence, advising, persuading, informing, to persistently, continually, or repeatedly occupying the area within the proposed buffer zone. My Lords, we value and believe in free speech, surely we do not think it's appropriate to criminalise those who seek to exercise their rights.
I realise that it's a 9-minute advisory time, but could I ask the noble lady to bring it to an end, please? Thank you.
Shortly, yes, my lord. Surely we do not think it's appropriate to criminalise those who seek to exercise their rights to free speech by advising, persuading or informing, or even simply being present, quietly, unobtrusively. This is what happens in places like Hong Kong, China, Russia, not the UK. Such a penalty would, my lord, be imposed in our country on those who seek only to pray and to offer help to women who may be in a desperate situation, for whom help can be provided. I have met some of these women and their babies. I have seen the joy in the presence of their little ones. This is not an argument about access to abortion or preventing access. That right exists in law. Clause 9 would deprive people from offering help and support to women, for whom such help could be the difference between the choice to terminate the life of their unborn child and the ability to bring that child into the world in a safe place. My Lords, this bill also reverses the traditional burden of proof which lies on the prosecution to prove any offence beyond a criminal doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt.
I really must ask the noble lady to bring it to an end.
I will. I've very little to say. Just bear with me, my Lords. This is an important point. That clause is inconsistent with the common law presumption of innocence and the protections under Article 6. In conclusion, then, my Lords, the bill, while well-intentioned and probably reflecting a desire by the government to try and show that it's strong, will deprive people of their historic, indeed ancient, rights to protest. This is not what we as a country should be doing. We must not place an initial and unnecessary burden on our police. We need, at this perilous time in the world, to protect the rights of people to protest peacefully. We need to utilise existing laws to deal with those who commit some of the many criminal offences which we have witnessed. We can do this, my Lords. This bill is disproportionate in its effect and would be very damaging to those freedoms and constitutional rights which we have cherished as a people across